Well, there's 4:15, we'll call the meeting to order, and then we have roll calls. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Member Wyden. Here. Member Kirkland, here. Member, Mead. Here. Member Shaw. Here. And our illustrious member is not here. That eloquent and, you know, how many accolades we can say about that.
You say the other way.
Okay, Scallowag is not here. Otherwise, we have a quorum. Thank you. I believe you want a chance to look at the agenda. Are there any edits that you want to recommend? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. All second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Please bring your attention to the minutes. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
I move that we approve the minutes as distributed. Second motion.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried. Let's take a look at the financial report. Yeah, is it invite discussion or further information? Well, again, we're social security indicates we're about 400.
Yeah,
I know.
there were a couple of questions last month that I have not taken up to William yet, so I figured this month maybe I can get Marcia and we can. Maybe either figure it out ourselves or get with William and see where those numbers came from.
This is the end of the fiscal. This month is the end of the fiscal.
Oh, yeah, well,
So hopefully we'll get the third. So that the general fund contribution and transfer will be correct.
right, yeah, we'll make sure if there are any errors or anything that doesn't look quite right, that gets fixed before the end of the fiscal year.
I did check my bank account online and the additional social security did not come to me. I'm still getting. Any other? What is the motion to see the financial report?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The management report. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We still have a decent amount of fuel in the ground. Sales for the 100 Lolas have picked up a little bit. We've got nice fine weather. So that's a good thing. As of today, I just received an email a little while ago. The purchase price is back at 404 a gallon. So it's gone up and down since our last load. It's right now on a slight downward trend, a few cents per week. It's been going down, so it's back to 404. So I'd anticipate another, I mean, more than a month, but within 2 months, we'll probably be looking to need the scale goes on the road. So if you find the prices, just be less than
And we are the lowest in the areas.
we are. You know, it's still well above our pricing policy as far as the sale price. So I think we've got a good compromise of bringing people here to buy our gas, so we're selling more, but we're also making a better profit than what we have in the past. But I think that's good on both fronts. And as long as that purchase price stays, if I don't see any indication of that going we should be in good shape for the rest of the summer, hopefully.
Is there any advantage to us to make the next purchase before the end of the fiscal year?
I doubt it. I can bring that up with William. Usually, he says, no, wait until after if you at all can.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah, and I know it's just a journal entry to go, both, you know, because we have the fuel in the ground and it's not. But still, speaking from previous experience, he's asked me to wait if possible. But we can bring that up. I'll ask him, ask about these other things. I talked to Swift Fuels because they said they had another load coming up to Michigan. And asked if we needed any, and I said, no. You know, we really haven't been selling very much, because the price is just too high. You know, compared to the 100 we're paying quite a bit more for that 94 Swift than the 100 Lowe's. And so we'll see. I mean, obviously we have a ways to go before we're gonna need any more Swift. But trying to plant the seed with them that, hey, if the price stays that high, what are we supposed to do? We're just not selling it.
Right.
So
I read a number of articles that say we should be prepared to spend a little bit more for our money than for in the low.
yeah, I believe it.
But the more closely we can align the price, the
Yeah, no.
Is the 94 Swift unleaded?
Yes,
Okay, and also no alcohol.
correct. No,
It's 100% synthetic, right?
yes,
that's a good question. I don't
that's
know.
what I read.
Okay,
I didn't know there was such.
it is a pure ab gas. I remember talking to them about that. They say it's stable in the tank just as long as 100 like this, which is theoretically enough of it. Unless it evaporates. You roll a little less, you know? Yeah. The other items, still been working to reach out for crack sealing paper marking projects. I still need to get with Justin on that and Marguerite to see if we have any local options, but go through our city's purchasing systems in order to get contractors for that this summer. We just, the next said we're working on selling the old tables and chairs. They got picked up a couple hours ago. So that was good.
Are they all gone?
Well, no, because I have some of them. So how many did you want to borrow? Probably chairs. We have lots of chairs. I mean, we could sell all the chairs. The chairs that we use for pancake breakfast, we still have. We have all the ones, of course, all the new tables. So we got 150 for the tables and chairs. The tables were what was really wanted. The chairs were pretty rough. But and then we were gonna put in another 50 from Griswold Aviation for the tables that we kept.
Weren't we paid for it?
No, we paid $250 for all of it.
Did you? Oh, well, you got 200.
That's
Yeah.
12 years ago.
Or at least,
Oh, it's more than that, because I've been here that long.
there was 07, I think,
How we got our money for it?
maybe it was earlier. But yeah, we did.
So, yeah, so we're happy to get that out of there, and we'll have Eddie start working on cleaning that part of the hangar. It's pretty bad back there, so those have been there for so long.
Those new tables and those will be nice.
Yeah, they are nice.
You can, you know, it's nice to be able to go pick one up on yourself.
Yeah, right.
So I'm telling you that and the thing, but they feel more stable too. Yeah.
Good thing.
You go get splinters.
No splinters.
How many new tables do we have now? When? And how many are we gonna set up at pancakes?
Last month, we only set up 15, I believe, maybe 16. Yeah, because I don't think I set up the one extra row, because it looked like the weather's gonna be bad, so. So if the weather turns out good this month, you know, we'll set up that extra row for tables and chairs.
That's on the.
21st.
I love the shirt. It's one of my favorite places.
Awesome.
Great.
I
I
guess.
bet that's his
Yeah.
plan. Mhm.
This one, I wanted to get you guys' opinion, permission, basically opinion, but we may have the opportunity. To be a test bed for, we've been wanting to count the number of runway operations or airport operations. Basically, it'll be a camera-based system that would mount probably somewhere on the terminal here, that would connect to the Wi-Fi and be able to see the runway and use some sort of software to count the video. The person doing it is my son. Cause he's looking for a summer project, and I said, you know what, I bet you could make some sort of camera AI-based software that could count. Runway operations, and of course, his mind started going with that. But I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. I think that would be a benefit to the airport, because we've been wanting to count operations, and everything commercially available is absolutely cost prohibitive. And I think, I don't know, I mean, we can talk about legal, ways to do it. In my opinion, it would be done through Griswold Aviation, so that we have an existing lease. We wouldn't modify anything, but we could work out details. But I just wanted to get your initial opinion, if that was something that would be okay with you guys. It was
I think it's a great idea.
good, thanks.
So, yeah.
What do you think, Glenn?
I'm wondering
Yeah,
what about privacy, but I guess if you land at a public airport, you're not really expecting
right.
privacy.
Yeah.
You're trackable on FlightAware and things like that anyway,
Yeah,
so.
And it has other potential. The whole idea of the system is to count, the number of takeoffs and landings. Of course, I would imagine you could use that as some sort of security camera as well. I don't know, I'm sure there's lots of ways things you can do with it over time.
is it useful, like when you're asking for money? We've had this many operations.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm thinking on a very basic level of, okay, count the number of airplanes that take off and land. But of course, with a phone camera from here could see the runway enough to identify the type of airplane. And my mind goes to AI software. My son thinks otherwise, but I would think some sort of software system would be able to easily identify, oh, that's a Cessna 152 or a Cirrus SR-20. And you could say, all right, on this day, you had 20 Cirrus SR-20s land and a 58 Baron, but you could categorize single engine, twin engine, I'm sure there's lots of different ways you could go with it.
Well, as long as you don't use ADS-B out.
Right. Yeah, because, not a lot, but a number of airplanes still don't have that.
Well, but even if they did, there's quite controversy about using that to recognize who landed where and then send them a bill for landing.
Oh, I see. Well, a lot of those are untrackable now. I've noticed that you can choose that option. So. But,
My opinion, I think it's a great idea,
Good.
because then you have a little more, quantifiable information on how much the airport is being used.
yeah,
Right?
exactly. And that's the goal. I mean, the airport board has talked about that probably for years.
Yeah.
And I've looked at several different systems that are available. There's ones where you can put a camera by the runway, and they're expensive.
Mhm.
I know other people have said, well, let's just record it, and then somebody watched the recording and
Yeah.
and I said, go ahead. No thanks, but go ahead.
What's the test period? Over like 3 months, 2 months?
I was just gonna say, summertime is what's in our head right now, so 3-4
I
months.
think it should be more than a month.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
That way you can average it, maybe even 3 months or whatever, and average it up, so.
Well,
that you
the
know.
summertime is the more busy time
Yeah.
too, so it might even be better to average it out over a full 12 months.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think in the initial startup phase, it'll be an ongoing, we could report every month, and say, here's the data, here's what we have, what we're able to capture, whatever, here's the challenges we're running into. you know, things like that. Of course, he's looking at it as a marketable idea for other airports, and it probably is. If you're able to keep the costs low.
So how can the airport make money on that too?
Oh, yeah, right, well, that's true. Yeah. So there's lots of avenues to explore, I think. So, but yeah, I'm glad to hear positive feedback, and we'll start working on that, so, see what we come up with. Of course, we'll talk to you guys before we actually do anything or mount anything. The simple idea in my head is some sort of magnet or maybe clamp on camera that mounts out here that can get the Wi-Fi and can see the runway. He's talking about using a little mini solar battery so it doesn't have to plug into anything. So. You know, well, that's a challenge, you know, I think. The challenge in my head right now is just how much money we want to spend on the camera. Because there's cameras that can absolutely see that, it just depends on how much you want to spend. I mean, he could.
You get infrared cameras.
Exactly, yeah. And they're not that cost prohibitive, you know, like I said, a phone camera could probably do it, if you're on a phone there, zoom in a little bit. So yeah, I know there's lots of different options, he knows all the technical specs of, oh, this phone has that camera, or this one, so. But yeah, those are ideas, this is a very fresh idea, just wanted to get your guys' input before we pursue it. So. Well, good, yeah, we'll keep reporting back on that, and hopefully we can have some actual good data for a change that we've never had before here. The pancake breakfast, I know we'll talk about that, but yeah, put that on there, just to say, I'm really happy to have your guys' help, and if there's anything else I can do to help, we can do. Yeah, hopefully we get better weather this month. So we've been working on advertising different avenues, so if you have any other ideas for that, we can do that too.
You're gonna drop the price of fuel, 25 cents a gallon.
We could. I mean, I actually have control over it here now versus downtown.
Just for that day.
Yeah, right, yeah, no kidding. If we think that would be a draw, to bring people in,
Yeah, and monitor how many gallons you sell.
yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely doable.
Make that work, you have to advertise it, someone is,
Yeah,
Like, start now.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, easy to do.
Or just with the breakfast salad, or have drop the price just with pancake breakfast salads.
Right, yeah.
Because I've been gone and I do apologize, what are the prices this year?
For the
For
pancake
adults
breakfast,
and children?
it is, what, $10?
Okay, for adults.
6 to 12 is $5. And 5 and under is free.
Thank you.
I noticed, several of the pancake breakfasts that I watched this year, I've only been to.
Okay.
They are, they all you can eat pancakes,
Oh,
it's not all you can eat everything,
uh-huh,
but I think it makes good sense just to say all you can eat.
sure. Yeah, I don't think, well, at least the little amount that I've been around, I haven't seen too many people coming back to more. It's really good.
We had maybe 2 or 3 last time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll keep advertising just all you can eat unless you guys say otherwise, we can certainly use it.
And it's all you can eat, pancakes. Not everything else.
And I don't think it matters.
Oh,
Yeah, from what I've seen, if somebody comes up and asks for a couple more sausages, we give it to them, you know, we're not gonna argue or turn them away. You know. But yeah, that's all I had, it was kind of a quiet month, so to speak, And we've been real busy in the shop, but seen plenty of flight training airplanes out. Otherwise, not a lot else to report on them.
Any questions?
I'll tell you the first man to break the sound barrier without an airplane or a rocket ship,
Yeah,
Felix Baumgartner. He parachuted from 101,000 feet, and he broke the sound barrier.
oh my. And you survived?
Oh, yeah,
It's
he
gonna
was
be
in a
nothing but-
pressurized suit.
Okay.
So it was planned.
Oh, yeah.
Say
He went up in a balloon, and he wanted to do I think he's got the longest free fall or something like that. 11 minutes or something.
So, in an airplane, it's either,
Chuck Yeager.
Jeff Yager or Scott Custer.
Well, it was, I think that was Chuck Yeager was first. I think
Yeah.
Pancho Barnes was first one, wasn't she? Or what was the gal's name? Joanne?
I'm looking it up because I forgot to write it down.
You can make up something that nobody's gonna know.
And usually somebody has the answer, and so I just, so I don't even think about it, but I legitimately forgot to write it down here, or this month. I know I'll find it, we can continue on.
Well, it was- Chuck Yeager, the bell at 47. He broke his ribs.
Oh,
And he didn't tell him he had broken ribs because he done it scrubbing. The flight.
you're not going to any pancake breakfast this weekend, Doc? Sorry, I was good.
I thought about driving out the Bulldog yesterday, they always put on a pretty good one.
I heard that,
And I
yeah.
noticed that several of our regional airports are having their pancake on Sunday now,
Oh, wow, okay.
including Mason.
Huh.
Good.
It was Chuck Yeager and Jacqueline Conklin. Yep. That's all I have for y'all, unless you have any other questions. Okay.
What? No. So, there's a motion to receive and, accept the manager's report.
I move we receive and accept managers report.
I'll second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public comment on agenda items. Public hearings and subsequent board action. We haven't held a hearing this time.
Anything.
Old business. I wanted to share with you the spreadsheet from our pancake breakfast and children events.
Oh, thanks.
And Craig was right, the weather for our May event was we didn't have any airplanes flying at all.
Lot of walk-in stuff.
We did a lot of drive-ins. We had a positive net, which is always a good sign. But if you look back in previous years, you'll see that June and July have generally been the heavy months.
Mhm.
So I'm hopeful that this month we will also have lots of customers.
Hey, we did better than we did in 2020.
Yeah, that's true. But even there, June, July, and August. Did well.
Yeah. July of 24 was the best one we ever had.
Mhm.
What was different?
I was there.
Ah,
No, I wasn't actually. I was already in Oshkosh.
Maybe that's the.
Maybe, you never can tell.
So. Do we have this money in the bank? Council?
In a safe.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you don't put it in your account with the city?
Yes, that's the reason.
Because we lost it a few years ago. We had it in the city special account and it sort of vanished.
Hmm,
And so since then, we've just been cash here. Go at the board. It's the airport board's money and, so, I mean, we can't, you know, if it became an issue, we could do that, obviously, as long as it's accounted for, but, so. We have the
remember when
receipts,
that-
yeah.
was,
uh,
Disappeared.
you know. And it wasn't a ton at the time, nowhere near as much as we have now, and then we don't have all of that, because we spent some of it, and I've got that. Over in my office, I didn't bring that sheet, but, yeah,
What you spend on tables?
that was what,
1570.
And you bought 20,
20.
so 75 a piece, something like that.
Yeah, they were 99, and then I had a coupon for 20 something off per table.
and I'll put the 200 that we got today into this too, I jotted it down.
The old tables didn't owe us a penny.
No. They gave us a workout.
That did, well, you were here the day I hauled them over here.
Yes,
3 trips for the machine center.
yes, yeah.
We put all those chairs and tables in the one single axle trailer.
Really? I'll bet you the tires are doing this.
Well, nice guy, and they were happy to get them. I guess they've got some auction stuff, but you know, they're heavy duty tables, so they were happy to.
That was good option. That's typically what they do.
Yeah.
Any other old business? New business? Moving on.
Yes.
so we have Kimber here, so just a little bit of, wanted to guys, we talked about this last month at the meeting. Last month, right? Was it 2 months ago? I can't remember. And you guys thought that it would be a, good idea to try to bring movies back here. So we've had a couple of meetings in between this time, with Maida and the city, trying to kind of sort out what the details, associated with trying to get movies out here. I think everybody's eager to make it happen. They're working on trying to get the movie, I think they kind of have the movie rights kind of figured out. And it's just a matter of all the other little details, right? So there's we're gonna have to do a special events application with the city. So if there's like cones or things like that that need to kind of be coordinated, that'll happen as part of that special events application. And that goes through like DPW and all of the different groups. And then I think ideally, well, I'm not sure, where did we end up? Are we just gonna try to do it on the outside, or are we still gonna try to?
It was my impression that we were gonna try to do it on the outside of the building. We weren't gonna try to go inside.
And that would give a little more flexibility, and I wanted to make sure we came back and talked to you guys, because if Craig, if you're not available on a couple of those weekends, are we still comfortable with having the movie night here and just not having, they wouldn't be accessing the hangar, they would just be outside of the hangar.
Like, we could get a porta potty to bring out here so that no facilities would need to be used.
Absolutely, yeah.
Unless you felt comfortable allowing access to this building, because that would be very convenient.
Right.
To allow access here for the restroom access.
Yeah, outside though. I mean, it's gonna be.
it'll be 9 o'clock.
9:30.
Yep.
It's dark.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, we were kind of envisioning. The way the advertising would go is that we would say, you know, bring your cars, do a cruise. On your own, you know, it's not like a organized event through us, but come and cruise through Marshall. And then maybe go to dinner somewhere, you know, there's all these. Cruise car friendly places to go eat here in town. And then after that, stay for a movie night. You know, and then it gets kind of later, so you might wanna just spend the night, so
Right.
book a room, you know, but we were trying to think, cause it's cruise, so we wanted to be car friendly, so we don't wanna just have them come and. Dump their cars somewhere and then go, we want them to showcase their cars, and we thought, you know, out here, if people would park in front of the. The building and we were gonna look and see, you know, our first thing is, where is it gonna be? So once we figured out the location, then we would figure out what we would need for a projector, a screen, sound,
Yeah.
you know, and that's all stuff that we would take care of everything for you, even the city event application and all that kind of stuff. It's just, we would be here, we would staff it, so it's not like we're gonna just, you know, have one projectionist out here. We would have people helping to direct traffic and, you know, we would have cones set up saying this is exactly where you need to drive.
Would you display the cars on the apron here?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If we could display them and then somehow project up on the side of the building
I
or.
think we were talking, just because of the light, you know, that's west, so the
Right.
evening, you might wanna have, and we might end up doing, I say we,
Yeah.
you guys, I'm not doing this. Having a projection screen, right? That would be in, like, on the east side of the building, right? And then you'd park, you know, kind of using the rest of that parking lot area on that east side.
So it would like have it all coned, you know, like have traffic directors saying, go this way, and then they would know where to go, and then.
Yeah.
Well, that was gonna be one of my concerns, if it was over here, is, you know, our fuel pumps are right there.
Yeah.
So do I need to worry about closing the airport for a time or saying fuel's not available, you know?
Mhm.
It's unlikely that we don't get very many planes at night, but once in a while.
But you never know.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
So
certainly
if
do.
we advertise this as a fly-in event.
Mhm.
We give some people there too.
I think that would be amazing.
Right.
That would just add to it, so it's not just your classic car,
Yeah.
maybe your, you know. Not so classic plane, you know what I'm saying, a classic plane.
Yeah.
So,
When
that would be
BFAA was
awesome.
doing these, they used as a screen, a couple of pieces of hanging canvas.
Mhm.
That there were always interesting wrinkles, literally,
Mhm.
on the canvas that made watching the movie
Mhm.
kind of a nostalgic event.
I have some canvases in my basement right now that have, you guys remember the old mural that's painted by the Shell station downtown?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have that recreated on canvas. I could just never figure out how to get it adhered to the side of the wall again, you know, so. But
You don't have my handwriting thing?
can't really do that. And I didn't wanna, it was like, nobody wanted to glue it on there because then it's, you know, it's permanent on there. But also I didn't wanna have it like framed and hung up there and have like mold get behind, I don't know, this is a whole nother, another discussion. But, I don't know if you guys are familiar with who I am, but, I'm the director of tourism here in Marshall. And so that's how I'm involved with all these, I do, Blues Fest, Chicken Barbecue, Motor Fest, Skeleton Fest, and the Christmas Parade. So those are all the ones in town that I'm in charge of.
Okay.
So you know, events, those are my thing, I do those. But then in my off time, I paint murals, I painted the Marshall mural, you know, the greetings from Marshall. And also, the last time I was thinking, when I came out here, the last time I was out here, I painted those letters. Up there, me and Todd, yeah, so. That was just, it was an honor to be up there and just, I'm like, who else gets to paint,
Oh,
you
you were
know?
up there with Todd.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, so, yeah, I knew I've seen you somewhere before.
Yes. Yep,
Yep.
yep, so that was amazing, but. Yeah, so I get to do all sorts of wild and wonderful things, but
It looks great.
yeah, thank you, yeah.
When we were doing movie nights a few years back, I looked into buying a screen And actually had my name in my hat and ring at MSU surplus
Mhm.
for a large electric screen, which then they decided to repurpose somewhere on campus. But I looked at inflatables for
Yes.
exterior,
Yeah,
and they're very reasonable.
Yep.
yeah, I don't know what Justin used, cause he did movies in the park. Like,
Yeah.
I think during COVID,
Yeah,
so I don't know what screen he used.
Right.
But,
I'm gonna have to ask. I know I have brought him up a couple times. I think we need to get like him in the room with us maybe. And hash out a couple of those details and see what he had to rent and what he still
Yeah.
has, right?
yeah,
But I know that we've got a popcorn machine that we can bring out here. You know, and then the sound thing, I think is we're still trying to kind of sort out if
Yeah.
that's over the radio, so you can just turn to a certain radio station on your car. I know that's how like drive-ins you know usually do it, right? And then it would be a little less loud for
I do.
yeah.
yeah.
So we have some speakers to put on the site, yeah. Roll your window down and you leave a little bit.
Decided to just use large speaker broadcast. Mike Sullivan
Yes.
was the one who did them before.
Okay.
I provided the projector and he provided the computer.
Mhm.
And that went fairly well, but because we were indoors,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
outside it may be harder. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, but we would, you know, that was the first thing was, where are we gonna have it? And then after we figured out the location, then we were gonna like work on these details and figure out, you know, cause it was, you know, if we were gonna go and have it, the other location we have, like kind of in our back pocket is the Marshall Middle School. And doing it in the parking lot behind the middle school. But, you know, they're summertime and, you know, we wouldn't have access to the school and
You
stuff.
can't get an east wall there, can you?
No, not at the
No,
middle
it would
school.
be
It would be a
south.
south facing wall,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
But I would just wanted to make sure that if, you know, the weekends that they were kind of talking were weekends that I knew, Craig, you were gonna be gone.
Sound to not me, because I have a solution, or some different types of solutions for you, with the band people and.
Oh, that's
stuff
right.
that I know.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, we have like a PA system, but I don't think it's gonna be
And
good for this kind of
no,
thing, so, yeah, that would be amazing.
like the guy who does my song at June for the Cure, he's got a huge system, and you would have no problem with people hearing. Just don't do it August night.
August 9th? No, we were looking at the three.
There was 3 weekends. Two
Either
in
3 or 4 weekends in July. Like the 4th weekend in July is whatever it is, the 30th of July or the 31st or whatever it is, where.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's 2 weekends you weren't gonna be here.
Yeah, well, potentially, I'm not positive yet, but so what
I'm
we
saying
had
that
come
would be
last
August
year.
1st, wouldn't it?
It's August, yeah, one
August
weekend
1st,
is
August 2nd
Yeah.
is Saturday, and that's when the cruise is, so that was, we were thinking people were gonna be here in town anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And then they would be, you know,
That gives them something extra to do, that's
Mhm.
wonderful.
yeah,
What
Yeah.
movies are you gonna have?
we were looking at car related movies, you know, like Smoking the Bandit. That the Walt Disney Cars, for the kids.
How about The Great Race?
Oh, we could look at that. What was the other one they said?
That would be-
besides Smoking the
Um,
Bandit? There was another one that they were really,
Oh,
oh, Back to the.
Back to the Future.
Oh.
To the Future, cause you know, hello,
Ah.
it's kind of our logo, so,
Mhm.
yeah, what did she, the Great Race? Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is.
This one, yeah. So what we did, like this year, this is last year's t-shirt and
Yeah.
last year's logo. So this year, we took last year's winner, his vehicle, and we put it as part of our logo. So next year, we'll have this year's winner on all of our, stuff. So I don't know anybody else that does that. 'Cause
Right.
We were like looking at, how can we update this without changing it or whatever, and so.
That's a great idea, I
Mhm.
saw it online, and I thought that was a super idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think the 11th?
78 Pacer.
Enter Ren and we'll see what we can do. Yeah. It's a $5 entry fee. It's not like it's, you know, breaks the bank. So,
Do you think the 11th will potentially be the first one?
July 11th,
Mhm.
That's a Friday.
Yeah,
Are you
these
looking
are on
at Friday?
Fridays.
Okay,
Yeah, all of these are Friday nights.
Oh,
I don't know.
here, I can bring up the calendar.
The reason I asked is I most likely will be here for that one.
Okay, July 11th.
And probably the 18th as well. But that's the Friday right before Oshkosh. I don't think I normally leave on that Friday, so I'll probably be here for that one.
Okay.
But not likely the one after that. So,
But not the one before that either, whatever the first one is.
The
um,
4th is 4th of July.
Okay, yeah, we wouldn't do it on that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do it on the July. No.
So, and then, I think that the later timing also coordinated with one of those nights, is Fridays at the Fountain. And so the movie would be after the music at the Fountain.
Yep.
So I think timing wise, it
Mhm.
kind of worked out with the
Mhm.
sun and stuff, but,
It does.
and I can't remember what day of the week or month that is, but, so you'd have the 11th, 18th, 25th and 1st. You're trying to do all 4 of those?
We talked about, we originally, we weren't gonna do August 1st because it's the weekend of the event, and then we thought, well, why wouldn't we do August 1st? I
Yeah.
mean, last meeting we were talking about it, and
Mhm.
we're like, everybody's gonna be here,
mhm.
why not?
And then because there's kind of a deal if you get 5 movies instead of 4,
Mhm.
there might be that if they don't use all 5 of their options for doing videos, and we already kind of have the setup figured out, the rec department might do a 5th one. And I haven't really figured that out yet, but if it works out well here, maybe we just do one even later in the fall, like before back to school, or, kind of in that dead zone in the fall, or.
In December, start like.
Right. Well, I'm not sure if you remember during COVID, the movie that they did at Stewart's Landing, it was cold.
Mm.
I was that springtime, early spring, or I can't remember, but we were all wrapped up in blankets and chairs sitting out, in the parking lot, and we were all cold, but we were all out there watching movies.
Yeah.
It was that way last night.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You never really know how it's gonna be,
Yeah.
so,
Always an adventure.
yeah. What else was there?
Did you guys have any questions for, I guess, I want to
We
make sure.
touched on popcorn too, whether or not we would get a group like the Rotary or somebody who might wanna do concessions for,
Mhm.
their group to be able to profit from that.
Or if the airport,
Yeah.
we didn't know if, again, I didn't know what your guys' level of interest was with engaging in this, especially knowing Craig was maybe not around for some of these. Or if it was okay to kind of bring in another group that might be making some money off of the event.
We haven't decided if we would charge an admission fee or just have it be free, it's kind of, so the license that we would have to pay, the copyright license is if we get 5 movies or more, they're 195 per movie. And then if they're less than that, they're somewhere between, 240 to 270, depending on the title. But if you do the 5 or more, it doesn't depend on the title anymore, it's how new the movies are, how popular or whatever. And then, I don't know if there's another price break after that, after 5, I didn't even think to ask her that.
We should look at that and also just from a rec coordination, see
Mhm.
if there's a desire to do anything like this, because if we,
Yeah,
maybe next year, this is,
yeah,
you know,
so that's I
Or
think,
how long is that license?
Right.
Or is it good from
The whole
July to
year?
July?
right,
I'm thinking it's for a
And
year.
then
Yeah.
that could be really helpful.
Yeah.
in Planning and getting it on the books for next year.
Right,
right.
Too.
Yeah,
right,
so, and she did say that we could, and then it also depends on the size of your audience, if these audiences are based on 50 people or less to come to see the movie.
which seems,
Yeah.
don't you guys, I feel like
Yeah,
that's pretty,
that's
I
what
doubt
we
you're gonna
did
get
start.
100 people out here.
And
you know.
that really depends on if you're charging admission, if you're not charging admission, if you're not making any money off of it, they don't care how many people see it. But if you're charging even $1 admission, they're gonna wanna know how much you made off of the movie,
Can
and
you,
then it's
can
like.
you ask for a donation?
Yeah.
do a donation or a gift
I
type
don't
thing?
know how, I didn't get into that with her, like how,
So it's specific, it is,
yeah,
if I read it correctly, it's specifically off of the money you make from
from,
charging to see the
Right.
movie.
yeah,
And so if you were to do like, people that do like canned drives or
Mhm.
something, right? Like that is not a payment to see the movie, right? So
Mhm.
you don't have to count that. So you could run some kind of donation thing or fundraiser or that, that might be
yeah.
a great donate to
people
the
are-
airport.
People are very generous, when we, I'm thinking back at during COVID, when we had the park parade for Christmas, when we didn't charge people, we had it out at the Merry Mile on the fairgrounds, and we had all of the people who would have been in the parade come out and set up a display, and then everybody just drove through to have it be COVID friendly. And we were like, we're not charging because we don't want to have anybody feel like they can't come and see the parade, this is the Marshall Christmas Parade. And we had people, almost every car, like want to donate and want to,
That's why I don't charge to go to Jamie
Yeah.
Third. I don't charge, we have
Mhm.
5 or 6 stands, I don't charge, I want them to buy other things, buy tickets, buy,
Mhm.
bid in the auction, and that way they have more money. And the prices go up.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's definitely, people are very generous when you
Mhm.
give them free things and it's cool and they wanna do it. But, this could be something that you guys find is relatively easy to put on and it gets, a following and, maybe you do it more than this. So that's what I was thinking. This lady that I was talking to at the copyright office, she was like, if you need to adjust this after you're going, if you find that you're having more people here or, that kind of thing, she's like, we can adjust the contract. So we could add more movies or whatever.
I've got, yeah.
Hmm?
You don't charge them admission. Charge them again.
Well, then you have them driving all over everywhere trying to get out without paying, how people are, so we might.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't take any cost anything.
Those little
But the
things
land
like
costs.
those little spiky things like this, yeah, so people could back up.
So Scotty's the idea, we nominate him for. some type of-
Yeah.
He cooks the hot dogs.
You know what, if you have a group of people out here and somebody's grilling like hot dogs or something, everybody out there is gonna want hot dogs. You smell that.
I'll nominate Scotty to volunteer. PFAA, what they were doing, they had pizza,
Uh-huh,
and candy bars, things.
yep,
Yep,
And a popcorn machine.
yeah,
Now, indeed, if an unaffiliated organization will set up concessions, would they charge, would they look at that as, oh, you're making money?
no, that has nothing to do with admission charge. That's why we were like, if we could figure out how to do this and get some money back here to the airport or get some money, like, if it's a,
Here's a thought, let me tie this together. What if we do this? And we set up a griddle or something like that, and do hamburgers and chips and everything like that. And the profit that we make after we pay for it. Fund, Griswold Technologies, their airport project.
I'd say eventually, I think initially, we're not looking for any money,
This
I
is
think it's more of a-
proof of concept.
yeah, the more of a development thing, I really appreciate that.
help offset costs.
True, that'd be great, I would certainly won't say no. I don't wanna put the airport on the hook for anything, that's not all things. We appreciate being able to use, the airport as a test bed. But yeah, if there is opportunity for that, that'd be great.
I will do best, but you don't put Kevin on your down, no.
Nice.
I'd be willing to do that.
Well, that'll help if we have some, so where my brain is going to is just making sure that we're staying legal with having an airport facility and FAA and all that stuff. And if we advertise it to the flying community, hey, good, we've got a fly-in movie. And if we, especially if we had some sort of airport board or staff involvement, that would help to legitimize it as not just a drive-in movie using FAA property, you know.
Yep.
So I like that, yeah.
You probably can.
You have all these Jiffy Pops on
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Everybody grab one and shake it around.
Make it exciting.
Yeah.
Kids would like it.
We have to show it like a National Lampoon or something on that day. So, and all of it.
No, come on, most of us are coordinated enough to keep the lid on the pot.
I had a college roommate who was taking a film course and he filmed a pot of popcorn popping. And he intentionally left the lid off and it was amazing to see the popcorn flying. The film was great, but then we wound up with little bits of grease all over the kitchen walls and the kitchen ceiling.
Fine.
Something you did think about the ceiling.
No.
They do it outside.
So,
What would be the like from us?
We just want permission to have it out here and then, you know, if you have a board member that's working with us, who that board member would be. So that we can coordinate and figure that out.
well, I know the last time you had kind of given authority to both Craig and myself, and I mean, not that, I don't want you to feel like you have to have a board member if it's you know what I mean, if it's difficult or something, right?
Or designee.
Yeah, in whatever way, right? But I wanted to make sure that, you know, she was back, you know, so that, and then I also want to know, like, before the July timeline, we should probably schedule another, like, if it's next month, she comes back and we'll come back with another kind of touch base presentation and just make sure that we're all ready to go. By then, we'll probably have our special event application into the city. And probably could give a better update on all the more specifics of it. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they are going behind there, like how would they get in?
Through that drive, yeah,
There's a driveway that goes all the way
Yeah,
around?
yeah.
Okay. So that's what we would need to know that for the map.
yeah,
Cause we do a map showing, you know, like all the logistics of it. And then, if there's anything we need from the city, which would be just like cones and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Cause they would what they do is they drive them out here like the day before, the day of or whatever, and they drop off however many cones we say. And then we put them
Yeah.
where they need to go and we pick them up and put them back. So then they come back and pick them up like on Monday. So.
it probably, I'm sorry, it probably would be good before we submit that application for the special events. Or before you submit the application.
Yeah.
Don't wanna give myself more work.
Yeah.
But from a plane perspective, it would be good to know when, if this is a fly-in, I'm assuming, like, I don't know how far the planes need to come up if you're talking about gas. You know, like, we'd need a few parameters on, you know, where to keep the cars away from, you know, how, and that kind of thing.
Park cars, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, the gliders sort of, we have to
At
go
night,
out for them.
yeah, at night, that wouldn't be an issue. We might, if it's Friday night, we might have a couple of late night cross countries or night flights. But, you know, if we need to, we can block that time off too, on our
Oh.
schedule.
The car, you know, if the movie's over there, the cars wouldn't have to come, you know, past the fuel pump here, so that
Right.
wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
Yeah. But, no, and I am encouraged, you know, previously I was thinking about something in the hangar, like what we've done out there before, and that's very challenging, because we've got everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only talked about that and the possibility that it would be like raining or something
Yeah,
like that.
You know,
But we could also, you know, fair weather only kind of a thing. So if it's raining, then we don't do it. So.
yeah, that's a problem when it's raining.
Then it should be.
Yeah, put his on floats yesterday, I'm sure he's heating gas for it. But yeah, when it's raining, we can't pull the owner's planes out.
Yes.
Please do, it
Yes.
needs a bath.
Well, yeah, yours I'll put outside.
Yeah.
They take off the top layer of bird glue.
Well,
Makes it fly better, right?
Yeah.
More aerodynamic.
Well, I heard consensus of support for this project. Should we,
Nominate Scott.
Yeah. we got, not nominated for something, or at least, adopt a motion that's, that essentially memorializes our support of this project.
Well, I make a motion that we support the project going forward. And to the point that, one board member, I would, be available to assist. And I'd drag out one of those griddles, grill a lot of hamburgers, man.
mhm.
I can make myself available to help.
You make what?
I'll be available to help.
Well, stop and think. The movie's free, and free will offering, whatever. And the hamburgers also free will, because if we saw them, we gotta go through the health department and everything like that. But shoot, if you get $5 for a hamburger and a Coke or something like that. And pay someone.
I just went to the Hickory Corners Fire Department and paid $20 for 2 pancakes and a half a muffin, so, you know, and because it's a free will donation. So, you know,
Yeah.
you will likely get much more money
Yeah.
by a donation
Yeah.
than you will to say $5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Is it,
To support.
was that in support? You actually put that in the terms of a motion.
I move that we support
The proposal
the
going forward
proposal going forward for movie nights,
for moving that.
Motor month movie nights.
motor month movie nights.
That's what we would call them.
And
Mhm.
And I think after that, that's the official resolution.
Okay.
We will support it. That's the motion.
Is there support for the motion? I'll support it. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you guys very much. Yeah.
But we get t-shirts.
Kimber Thompson, KIMBERTHOMPSON.
Public comment on non-agenda items. Anyone wish to speak?
That's public. Public comment, right?
Yes. Morgan, you don't feel good?
Huh?
You don't feel good?
No, I'm waiting till the word comment.
We are that, we are there.
Thanks for bringing the cookies. I caused them pretty well in the box there. Thank you. What about Robbie?
No news. They won't fight with the power company. Public Service Commission makes a decision. It's my fault. Make a decision to where they want to do.
There's nothing to stop the building, getting bonfire.
No. You know, I went to a meeting with our Senator Lindsley, and one of the gentlemen from the meeting said, they want to put fuel on my pot, and I'm gonna go over my back, hole, dig them up. I'm like, why do you say that? But, I'm trying to find if anybody has in contact, someone, the some authority in federal government, that they, that will. They won't enforce, but if people want to do it, a letter of recommendation that they not condemn the airport. Because it can be used for emergency purposes, like it has, 3 times. So, but that, trying to find anybody that that's going to even make a letter of recommendation is an interesting process.
But you're an AOPA member, aren't you, Rock?
I am, I have the legal services, I talk to the attorneys and.
I've seen about the regional coordinator. Who is housed in Wisconsin, but is responsible for supporting airport activities in the Great Lakes. And I can't remember his name right now, but I have it at home.
Oh.
One for the FAA? No, AOPA. Oh. But he's part of the government affairs division.
Here's a guy from FAA now.
Brian Buds is the name coming to my mind, but he used to be there,
He used to
now he's
be.
with them.
Yeah.
But I don't recall that other guy's.
Is it Yali's?
Kevin. I have to look it up.
Yeah.
They. We'll see what the Public Service Commission. Presents in the next month. My last comment when I was there, the last line was, we hope common sense prevails in this issue. It's a lot to ask from the government, but.
Yes. Okay. David,
What?
you have comments you want to contribute?
Oh, I'm just. I'm looking forward to pancakes. And I want to thank Craig for bringing the cookies, and I really think the airport operations program that Young Grizz is looking at, I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
No, thanks.
Well,
Yeah, no comments?
nothing. Okay, my only comment was, we want to be prepared for a good, healthy turnout for June 21st. Pancake breakfast. And thanks to for selling the tables, chairs. And
That was good.
who worked on that?
What's that?
Katie did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's I talking to? I said, Craig said he's gonna do it 6 months ago and nothing happens and. Katie shows up and 1 week later it's done.
Uh-huh. People are actually gonna start getting up our own pretty.
Well, good.
Not on airplanes, just, oh, sorry.
Any other items come before the board? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? You're adjourned.